Hello students. So in lecture 5 of star and solar system, we will study now the solar system. Okay. So solar system already I think you have studied in the previous classes also. So here we will just go through the solar system here elaborately. Now in the solar system, as you know that it has sun, planets, satellites, dwarf planets, asteroids, and comets. These are the main thing of the solar system. So we have also gone through little bit regarding the planets, sun, satellites, dwarf planets, asteroids. We know a lot of things regarding these comets also. Now we are going to the solar system. Now the solar system is huge, okay, and at least 100 astronomical units in size, 15 trillion kilometer, and it is held together by the sun's immense gravitational pull. Let me take first pointer. Okay, immense gravitational pull that keeps the objects like the planets, asteroids in around orbit around it. Okay, so the solar system is huge, and here you can see that here you can see in the solar system you can see that we have that sun's immense gravitational pull, and so that the objects like planets and asteroids in orbit around it, it will just move. Okay, so it will revolve. Now in the solar system, whatever the objects we have, so these are gravitationally bound system. So the solar system actually, it is the gravitational, we can say in another way, it is gravitationally bound system of the sun and the objects, all the objects, what are the planets, objects, and the objects and that orbit it. Okay, and it formed 4.6 billion years ago from the gravitational collapse of giant interstellar molecular clouds, and the vast majorities of the system's mass is in the sun, with the most remaining mass contained in the planet Jupiter. Okay, so here nearest known planetary system, known planetary system, we have Mercury, Venus, and Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. And nearest known planetary system, nearest known planetary system, that is Proxima Centauri system, and the distance is 4.2441 light year. Okay, and here total 657 natural satellites we have, and the solar system, that is here we know that it is just made up of all the planets and all the stars, whatever. So here you can see that these are the Mercury, and the planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. So these are the terrestrial planets, and 4 giant planets also we have. We have in case of our solar system. Okay, so the sun is the biggest object. The sun is the biggest object in the solar system and provides the energy to the earth by nuclear reaction that occur in its center. And the sun is a star and has a surface temperature of 6,000 degrees centigrade. 6,000 degrees centigrade. and it is mostly composed of hydrogen gas along with a small amount of helium gas, small amount of helium gas. Okay, so here you can see that the sun it has the temperature, very high temperature here, and it has the temperature of 6000 degrees centigrade. Okay, and the whole Mars is as cold as the South Pole, and Saturn's rings are 90% of water. So few points I'm just giving you few knowledge regarding the solar system, that the whole Mars is as cold as the South Pole, right? Our South Pole, that is so cold, and Saturn's also, the ring is there in the Saturn, and these ring are 90% of water, 90% of water. Okay, and Mercury takes roughly 3 Earth months, 3 Earth months to orbit the sun, okay. So our solar system, that is because of the sun, the solar system, because of the sun, our planetary system is named as the solar system because of the sun. Sun is named Sol. This is a Latin word, and Solis, that means sun. Okay, so this is a Latin word. From that it has been discovered, it has been named that solar system. And the solar system, here I am writing Galileo, this Italian astronomer Galileo, he actually discovered the solar system, and the Milky Way have revolutionized our understanding of our place. So here you can see that the solar system is important because we are alive due to the solar system. It provides only known example of the habitable planet, only star we can observe close up, and the only worlds we can visit, and space probes. Okay, and in the solar system, the smallest planet is the Mercury, and in the solar system, the hottest planet is the Venus. And here you can see that the Earth name, it comes from the Greek and Roman gods. The Earth meaning is in the Greek and Roman, that is the gods or goddesses. Okay, so this is a little bit points regarding the solar system. Now, what does the solar system consist of? It consists of 8 planets, and here within these 8 planets you have the Earth is also one of the planets and lies at a distance from the sun such that it is neither too hot too cold, and the planets were formed at least 4.6 billion years ago, and disk of dust and gas orbiting around the sun collapsed and clumped together due to the gravity, okay. So who named our solar system? Roman mythology is to thank for the monikers of most of the 8 planets in the solar system. Okay, and Earth has been discovered. Here you can know that the first person to determine the size of the Earth was Eratosthenes of Cyrene. So here the Earth was discovered, and how long will the sun last? But in about 5 billion years, the sun will run out of hydrogen. And which one is the coldest planet? The Uranus is the coldest planet. Which one is the big planet? Jupiter is the big planet. Which one is the largest known planet? That is the Jupiter. Okay. And which one is the Earth's twin planet? That is the Venus. Venus is the second planet from the Sun and Earth's closest planetary neighbor. So it's one of the 4 inner terrestrial planets, and it's often called Earth's twin planet because it's similar in size and density. So this you have to know that are twin planet, that is Venus. Okay, because it's similar in size and density. Okay, and second coldest planet, this is the Mercury. This is the Mercury. Okay, and here 9 planets name are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Then there are possible so many planets also which has been discovered there. Now Jupiter, why it is so hot? This reason you have to know. I'm writing here regarding the Jupiter. Jupiter's rocky core lies well below the surface, and is very hot due to gravitational compression. And do you know how much hot is this one? This is 36,000 degree Fahrenheit. So Jupiter's temperature that is 36,000 Fahrenheit. So this much is hot. Okay. And which one is the largest star? The largest known star in the universe, the largest known star in the universe is the YI Scuti, is a variable hypergiant with a radius of, and its radius is 1700 times larger than the radius of the sun. Okay. Now the solar system also contains small irregularly shaped objects made of rock, metal, carbon called the asteroids orbiting the sun. And most of these objects lie between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter in the asteroid belt. Okay. So another question. So if how hot is Mars? Do you know the temperature of the Mars? Temperature on Mars average is minus 81 degree Fahrenheit. And however, temperature ranges from around minus 220 degree Fahrenheit in the winter time at the poles to plus 70 degree Fahrenheit over the lower latitude in the summer. Okay. So here you know that another term we can heard, that is the great red. Great red. So if the question is what is great red? So Jupiter's great red spot, that is GRS, is a large and enduring anticyclonic storm in Jupiter's atmosphere. Okay. And how long will Jupiter storm last. Jupiter's great red spot, a gigantic storm more than twice the size of the Earth, has persisted for centuries, but now scientists predict it could disappear forever in as little as 20 years. So this can last for several centuries. Now the asteroids. Here, these are big chunks of rocks and metals that are mostly found orbiting the Sun between the Mars and Jupiter. And it is believed that the moons did not originally orbit the Mars, but were instead a part of the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt lies between the Mars and Jupiter. So you have to remember this thing, the asteroid belt that lies between the Mars and Jupiter. Mars and Jupiter. And it contains lumps of rock much smaller than planets, and these lumps are called asteroids or minor planets. And they are not visible from the Earth with the naked eye, but many may be seen by the telescope. Okay, so now satellites already we know that the natural satellite of the Earth is the moon, and some satellites like Ganymede are bigger than Mercury and can have the atmospheres. Artificial satellites we are sending just to get the different purposes. We have different purposes to get the weather forecast, to get for the research purpose also. And the satellites revolve around the Earth much closer than the Earth's natural satellite, that is the moon. And it is just taking all the information and it is just giving us all the information. Now, Aryabhatta is the first artificial satellite in India. So this you have to remember. Aryabhatta is the first artificial satellite. This is very important point. Artificial satellite of India. And many other satellites have been launched by India like NCERT, IRS, EduSat. These are the different artificial satellites already have been launched. Okay. Now the comets already we have studied. So comets are small irregularly shaped objects made up of ice, and they usually come from outermost reaches of the solar system beyond Neptune from a region known as Kuiper belt. Okay, so that is known as Kuiper belt. And now when these objects come close to the sun, the ice vaporizes, forming a beautiful tail behind them. And here you know that some of these comets appear regularly, such as Halley's comet. Now, the Kuiper belt, this is the Kuiper belt is a circumstellar disk in the outer solar system extending from the orbit of Neptune at 30 astronomical units to approximately 50 astronomical unit from the sun. Okay, and this Halley's comet, which appears once every 76 years. Next time it will appear 2061. Now dwarf planets. Dwarf planets are objects smaller than the planets and larger than the asteroids, orbit the sun at various places. Nearest dwarf planet to us is the Ceres, which lies in the asteroid belt, and asteroid belt is where? Between the Mars and Jupiter. The most famous dwarf planet is the Pluto, which lies beyond the Neptune on the inner edge of the Kuiper belt. And in 2014, Pluto and 5 satellites were visited by a spacecraft named New Horizons for the first time in history, and capturing the images of icy dwarf planet in high resolution. Icy dwarf planet in high resolution. So dwarf planet, that you know that main dwarf planet, these are the Pluto is the dwarf planet here. So dwarf planet is a small planetary mass object that is in direct orbit of the sun, smaller than the other. Now 5 dwarf planets, these are the Pluto, Aries, Ceres, Makemake, and Hermes. Okay. These are the dwarf planets. So currently there are 6 dwarf planets officially designated: Pluto, Ceres, Aries, Mercury, and 2015 RR245 discovered in July. Okay, and here why Pluto was removed, the International Astronomical Union that downgraded the status of the Pluto to that of the dwarf planet because it did not meet the 3 criteria of this organization uses to define a full-size planet. Essentially, Pluto meets all the criteria except one: it has not cleared its neighborhood region of other objects. So that's why it is the dwarf planet. Now, let's do some question answer here. Let me change the ink color. Fine. So what does the solar system consist of? What does the solar system consist of? The solar system contains 8 planets which are large, almost spherical objects that revolve around the sun in elliptical paths known as orbits, and the Earth is also one of the planets and lies at a distance from the sun such that it is neither too hot nor too cold for life to exist. Okay. Now, how many types of planets are there? There are 2 kinds of planets: rocky planets include Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, which are mostly made up of solid rock and metal, and gas giants include Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, which are mostly made up of gases like hydrogen, helium, methane, etc. And are these planets are very large in comparison to the rocky planets. Rocky planets. Okay. Now, what are asteroids? Asteroids are big chunks of rock or metal that are mostly found orbiting the Sun between Mars and Jupiter. And it is believed that these moons did not originally orbit Mars, but were instead a part of the asteroid belt. Okay. Now, what are satellites? Satellites are objects that revolve around planets and are also part of the solar system. The Earth's natural satellite is the moon. Okay. What are dwarf planets? Dwarf planets are objects smaller than planets and larger than asteroids that orbit the Sun at various places. The nearest dwarf planet to us is Ceres, which lies in the asteroid belt. Just a minute. asteroid belt. And the most famous is Pluto, which lies beyond Neptune on the inner edge of the Kuiper belt. Okay, so next is the solar system orbit. What do you mean by orbit? Orbit is a fixed path that a planet takes revolve around the sun. Let me change the pointer color first. So orbit is a fixed path that a planet takes to revolve around the sun. So this one is the orbit. Okay. And Mercury, this is the nearest planet to the sun and also smallest planet in our solar system, and it is usually hidden due to the sun's glare but can be seen just before sunrise or after the sunset. You can see the Mercury. Okay. So the Mercury, that is the closest planet to the sun, and its distance is 57 into 10 to the power 6 kilometer. And since it is very close to the sun, most of the time it is hidden in the glare of the sun. And it can be visible before the sunrise in the east, after the sunset in the west. And it appears quite bright, and correspondingly it is termed as morning star and evening star. It is termed as morning star and evening star. And it is termed as star because it appears very bright in that sky, and that it is of the same size of the moon. So it revolves around the sun in 88 days and takes 58 days to complete one rotation on its axis. So I am just giving you, this is the rotation, and if this is the sun, and if this is the sun, and above this is the, it will take 88 days, and for this rotation it will take 58 days. Okay, and life cannot exist on Mercury due to the lack of atmosphere and extreme temperature, 340 degrees centigrade at the hottest temperature, and the lowest temperature is minus 150 degrees centigrade, and it has no protective blanket around it to save it from the harmful radiation. Like in our Earth, we have a protective atmosphere, and we have one ozone layer that actually protects us from the different harmful radiations. So there is not this type of ozone layer exists in the Mercury. That's why the life is not possible there. The surface features of the Mercury resembles those of the moon more than those of the Earth. And it has no moon or satellite. It has no moon or satellite. Okay. Now Venus. Venus is the brightest planet in the night sky, and it is closest planet to the Earth, because first Mercury, then Venus, then Earth. So although not a star, it is called a morning star or evening star, as it appears in the eastern sky before sunrise and western sky after the sunset. Now Saturn. Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system, and it is unique as it has thousands of beautiful rings. The Saturn has large number of moons. The Saturn has large number of moons. And after Jupiter, Saturn is the second biggest planet of the solar system, and it looks like a large yellow star to the naked eye, large yellow star. And it poses well-developed setup of rings. You can see there are some rings over here. There are some rings over here. There are some rings over here in this Saturn. Rings over here. Okay, and these rings consist of particles whose sizes vary from tiny specks to rocks measuring a few kilometers in diameter. Okay, so up to this much for today. Thank you all, and thank you for the solar system so that we can live in our Earth. This is the only planet which is habitable. Thank you all.